James Renouf and Mark Gannon here for yet another video relating to the IEEPA refunds that are out there. And a question that a lot of people are talking about is what is the CAPE system? That is a term we keep hearing about, the CAPE system, which stands for the Consolidated Administration and Processing of Entries. Again, CAPE, the Consolidated Administration and Processing of Entries. And right now, as of the recording of this video, they have what's called a phase one, which is currently active, and then they're going to have a phase two, which launches on June 29th for newer reconciliation entries. And the bottom line is that with all these billions of dollars that are there for IEPA refunds, this money is now being put into buckets, and you need to be very
Mm.
aware of that. And if you go through or just go through the CAPE system, my understanding, or Mark, correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is depending on when these tariffs were paid, you may not have, if you just do the CAPE system or attempt to just go down that path, you do not have access to all of the funds you could get in a refund because there was a June 2nd, 2026 Department of Justice appeal that said for older entries, it must go through litigation. And I don't want to make this assumption, but I'm thinking the reason why it has to go through litigation is because of the fact that they're trying to make it harder to get this money. So Mark, give us your thoughts in terms of CAPE, what that system is, and then just referencing the fact that there's now these buckets. There's the CAPE system, there's something known as a CBP protest, and then also CIT litigation in terms of getting these IEPA
Okay.
refunds.
Thanks, James. All right. So, as you can see, this is now starting to get really interesting. We've taken you from the very, very beginning, is what is an IEEPA tariff refund? We've discussed all the different little bits and pieces, but now we're getting to the meat and potatoes. So, please, 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 we are not lawyers. All right. You can see now that this is starting to get complex. Please, if you're going to look into this, get proper legal advice because what you're going to see in a second, it's the main chunk of the refunds are actually all legal. They're legally based. That you've got to do a protest. You've got to do litigation. It's not easy. Now, the lawyers that do these things are specialized lawyers. There's only 10 companies in the whole of the US that can actually argue in the International Court of Trade, which I'll explain again. And yeah, there's only 10 law firms. So we're lucky that we're working with one of them, and it's a top 100 law firm. But we'll go into that in a second. So let's talk about the other two um, paths. So you've got basically three paths. You've got the more do-it-yourself path, which is the CAPE system, and that's also for the newer entries. Then because the older entries now, because remember that the court dates were around end of February. It was said that it was unconstitutional tariffs being charged. So there's only a limited time, and that window has actually gone past for the older claims. So you're talking the very, very early ones. And James, what people haven't don't understand because they just don't know what they don't know is that that's when the major claims the IEEPA tariffs were in the first 2, 3 months.
Well, think of it this way, Mark.
Yep.
Now there's a 2-year statute of limitation that is going to expire. The deadlines for the earliest 2025 IEPA entries, they'll be locked permanently in early 2027. So we're already mid June. There is a real sense of urgency because at a certain point, and the term is early 2027. What does that mean? Does that mean January 1st or later? Bottom line is this litigation, which is going to be done through lawyers, if you wait too long to go down that path and just try and do it yourself, you just literally will not even have a chance to access those funds. So that's why it's so important to get this done as quick as possible.
Absolutely. So it's like a window. The window is closing. So every day you delay, your window to claim a larger amount is closing. And it's moving from let's say do it yourself to having to do a protest and a litigation. So the other two, James, it's a legal protest, so it's a legal court case. You've got to make a protest. Now, the protest is handled by a specialized lawyer, and that specialized lawyer is can only they have to have certain qualifications, so you just can't go to your normal attorney. Then, if that window is shut, because again, there's a time frame, then it has to go into litigation. So that's the big stuff. That's that
Yeah.
is when you need a lawyer.
So
So
and so the CBP protest, there's a strict 180-day window. The CIT litigation now has a 2-year window. The bottom line is there, as Mark said earlier, it's more and more turning into buckets. It's more and more turning into time frames. It's more and more turning into complexity, but you don't have to go through that complexity alone. We partner with a law firm, like Mark said, is a top 10 law firm that's out there that specializes in this. We have a link below that you can put in information, takes about 30 seconds to a minute, that they can qualify you, that you have the potential to get these refunds, and then you don't have to wait 2 years to get this money. There's a path to get this much quicker. So bottom line is, there is a real sense of urgency here, and rather than trying, we're trying to give you as much information as we can on all these different nuances, but at the same time, in the end, in our opinion, the best way is to go with the experts, go with the expert law firm that can handle this, get rid of all the noise, and just make it happen for you. And that's what we have the link below. So fill that out. Mark, final thoughts on this video?
yeah, so just going back to it, so it's a top 100 law firm that has offices all throughout the states. So we're not talking with a company that doesn't know their staff. They've been around for 40 years and they have their own tariff and trade department. Now, one thing I didn't say about the other two avenues, the CBP protest, that's the Customs and Border Patrol Department protest, okay? And then the CIT litigation, that's the Court of International Trade litigation. And if it gets to that, those legal firms are the only ones that can argue that in that court. So it's really, really important. So what a lot of people, what we're finding, James, is a lot of people are working with brokers and brokers can only do so much. They can only package it to a certain level. They cannot do this stuff. And to be frank, they don't have the expertise to actually do this bit, the litigation and the protests. They just don't. So you're putting your future. Well, you're not. You're putting the future of your refund in the hands of not the right, the best qualified people. So click
Uh,
that link.
Absolutely. So go to that link, fill it out. No money out of pocket to click on that link, and then we'll have a representative reach out to you to go after these refunds the proper way.